So what's up everybody, it's me, True Star Screamer, and we're here with another, well, formerly known as LPZZ, now known as UPF action figure. This is their Batman Arkham Knight series Deathstroke figure. Sorry the box is shiny as heck against these lights, but it is some really neat black and white artwork with the black background and everything being drawn with a white pencil. I've always loved that style of art, to be honest. I know manga does it a lot. I loved the Batman. Absolutely. The LPZZ Batman was easily one of my favorite figures last year. But when they showed they had their Deathstroke, I had to pre-order it immediately. I still have other figures from this line on pre-order, including the Batman Who Laughs and the Red Death. I am not going in art for that. The box is very plain. It's pretty much this. There's nothing really on the show off on the sides. It's got the Arkham Knight symbol from there from the video game, and that's about it. But we're not here to talk about boxes. We're here to talk about figures. Let me tell you, this is a very cool figure. It is probably the best Deathstroke figure I have handled, and I do have the Revoltech Deathstroke. I even had the old, from the Arrow TV series, the DC Direct Deathstroke, which I really liked. I actually did an old photo review of that back in the day when I was regular Star Screamer on my old Star Screamers rant site. This has a lot of awesome things going with it. It is not perfect. I do actually have a few, I don't want to say complaints, but a few things I find that could have been a little better. But overall, this is an absolutely excellent action figure. There's a lot of things I do like about it. Articulation is near perfect. I mean, you can see here we've got, similar to the first Batman figure, we've got the shoulder armor here that gets out of the way, so you can just kind of pull things aside, get a near perfect T-pose on that. The torso, that's where things get a little restricted, but that's just due to the nature of the armor. One thing I liked with the Batman figure was how the chest was separate from the abdomen area. This, not so much. But you can... Oh, that's going to be annoying. Just notice that the... there we go, that's popping. That was just popping loose there. This is real time, guys. I'm not going to be editing it, but that itself was a little bit of a complaint about how that armor was popping loose. But, he moves around decently. Cannot complain. He's got his waist swivel here. He's got his the top swivel is on there pretty good, and things get out of the way as you need to them. Man, that armor popping is really going to be bugging me later. Sorry about that. The ankle, this is kind of interesting. This is just kind of laying there, so again, it gets out of the way as you move the ball joint. Nice use of gravity for that. Toe, decent. Double jointed knee, bends like butter. Nothing loose on the hips. Again, this is one of those figures that I really would have liked a drop down hip, just so you can kind of get things out of the way. It's not quite a universal joint on there, it's not a ball socket, but things do move as I need them to. But just that drop down hip would have gotten me that much more. Man, this thing popped out again. This is going to be a reoccurring thing. Again, it pops back in, but it's just having to do that over and over again. I've already had to put a couple of the accessories on, which includes the tassel here for the mask. I put on I put on his pistol, and I put one of his swords in the scabbard, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Because he has other gear, but he can't store that gear, and that is probably my I don't want to say number one complaint, but that's always, you know me, if you've been a long-time viewer of this channel, I like it when my figures can hold all their stuff, especially small weapons. That's always a big thing for me. But speaking of them, let's talk about those set accessories. So for what you pay for, you definitely get a very good assortment of accessories. One, you do get the grappling gun, which I believe this is probably more meant for Arkham series Batman, but it's cool that you can get it through with him, so that can add on to that. This is actually is removable, so if you want to make it look like he's already fired the grappler, you can. So that's pretty cool. Of course, he can use it as well. Though Deathstroke does have a machine gun. Again, no place for him to store that, but this is beautifully painted. Not a slug, so two colors, black plastic, and then the silver paint overlay, which I think looks quite striking. On him, he does come with a nice pistol. Again, that is just kind of a slug, but again, that's nicely painted. He does come with his katana. Slides into the scabbard smoothly. This is just held on by friction back here, so you can see it shifts around back there. He does get a second katana, or a second sword. Come on, get back in there. There we go. He does get a second sword, a much more vicious blade, but that does not store in the scabbard. So go with that as you will. Has a very nice dagger, which is black with the silver blade. That annoys me that there is no place for this to be stored, especially with it being so small. And yep, that did pop loose again. Yay. But there's really no excuse for him not even to have like an ankle sheath for this dagger. So that annoys me a lot, actually. We also get a staff. This is kind of interesting because it is extendable. I almost wonder, is this truly meant for Deathstroke, or would this more be for Nightwing to use, to be honest? But we can take off the ends of it here, and then this separates. Put that on the end, put that on the end here, and it's like the staff is extended. That's very cool. Again, I don't know if this is more for Deathstroke, or if they are going to make a Nightwing, which I think would be really cool. A gorgeous alternate head. I love the scar on the missing eye, and just a nice stoic expression. Does come with a stand. Nothing too crazy to write home about, but it's sturdy. I do keep my Batman on his stand, and he's been staying in midair with no issues. Then we get a full slew of hands. You get two of these, left and right hand. You get your kind of cupping, general gesturing hand. You have your splayed fingers hand. You have your trigger hand, which of course with all the guns that he has, that's important to have. You have, this is probably more for gripping the staff hand, as well as you have your sword hand. So I'll probably accessorize them up in a second. But that's a perfect amount of hands for a figure like this. Alright, damn, that does look pretty freaking good. I cannot lie, that absolutely has some presence. I gotta praise the deco on this. It is absolutely gorgeous. The armor has like cuts to it. It looks like he's been in battles, been the subject of receiving plenty of beatdowns to it. I don't get why he's got the shotgun shells here on the shoulder pad when he doesn't have a shotgun. Just that does kind of annoy me. That's a small thing, but that's those small things that bug me. Again, the weathering of it looks great. With the alternate head here, I like how it's smaller than the main helmet, so it looks like this should be over it. And I didn't even mention the eye that's just staring at you with just disdain. This helmet here, all scratched up, again looking like he's been on the business end of a lot of beatdowns. One thing I think would have been kind of cool is if he actually had an actual helmet that didn't have the eye in it, so I could actually make it look like he's holding his helmet. I think that would have been kind of cool. But Deathstroke has fought helmetless in a lot of his comics, so I can work with this. This absolutely I can work with. He also has grenades on here, which would have been neat if I had some loose ones for him to use. And I mean, things like the rivets, it does look really, really nice. I like this look. I think I may actually have him unmasked in my display, just because this really just shows off Slade being this gritty soldier. I mean, like, even the chainmail, it's got like a little bit of a wash to it. I just, again, aesthetically, I love this figure. And that's a very big deal. That's one of the reasons why I passed on the Mezco and also the, what was it, Stab of Hades, the third-party one. It just didn't quite pull it off. The Revoltech does a good job, don't get me wrong, but this, aesthetically, absolutely takes it to the level he should be at. On paper, this should be a near-perfect figure. Oh man, I didn't even just notice the buckles on the feet, too. And on the knees. I love this stuff. But again, on paper, this should be like a near-perfect figure. And the problem is, it just is shy of being to that level. The fact of the utility belt here keeps on popping open, that's just bugs me, okay? I wish that those connections were a little tighter so that doesn't pop through. Again, it actually fixes just as easy, which is nice, but still, I shouldn't be having to deal with that issue. I really wish I could have him hold his weapons. I think that's a major shortcoming. Not necessarily having a place for the machine gun to go, but the dagger would be really nice if there was a sheath for that, and if there was a place to put the non-extended version of this baton for him. This is actually a very neat accessory. Deathstroke is known to have that power staff, and again, I think it would have been really cool if I could find a place for this to actually reside on him with. But it's still like one of the best Deathstroke figures I have handled. And you know, maybe some kind of a little more movement with the tassels. I mean, I can rotate it to make it give that faux motion look to it. And this is this is what Grendel should have freaking have, by the way. You know, just have to point that out because yes, I am still grumpy about that Grendel. If you don't know the Grendel I'm talking about, review up here. Pistol looks great. All other major articulation is awesome. I'm still in on this line. I think it is absolutely it's keeping up to most of expectations. It hasn't failed me. Just, I guess you could say, this figure slightly frustrates me. I'm glad they led with the Batman than this one, because in that case I would be having second thoughts. The joint tolerances, though, are actually much better than the Batman figure. When I first got that one, the hip joint was, this inner hip joint was really loose on that. So, that being said, I do recommend it if you can find him. I had bought mine on 5K Toys. It sold out. In fact, a lot of these figures are selling out very quickly. I think this is probably one of the best high-end DC figure lines I have seen. Again, they have the Hush Batman coming out. I'll need that. I mentioned the Batman Who Laughs is coming out. The Red Death is coming out. I really hope they go through all the Metal Knights, because I did enjoy the whole Dark Metal Knight aesthetic. Oh, almost forgot. Just because we kind of gotta. Here he is next to Pandora, and I think that scales absolutely wonderfully. I recommend this figure. I give it an A-. So again, not quite the solid A level, just because of the belts popping open and not storing the accessories. Everything else, though, is fantastic. He'll look amazing in your display case, and I don't know how much more I can say about that. So let me know your thoughts down below. Did you get him? Are you wishing you had him? Do you have any of the other Deathstrokes that you'd like to compare him with? If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button. Like I said, I got more cool stuff on the way. Plenty of things. I just actually hit the ship button from Big Bad Toy Store. I got a Revoltech coming in, believe it or not, and those Acid Rain figures. So if you want to see that stuff, hit that subscribe button, and I hope to see you on the next review. And as always, until next time, my friends, take care. Peace.